guys, welcome. I am going to, sorry guys, move you around here. Okay. I probably should plug this in. Okay, and let's see. How is everyone today? It's nice to see everybody. Well, not technically see, but you too, Justina. We have a lot to talk about, and go over. Hope you guys are into science of crystals. We're going to go over a lot of that, and I'll explain why I'm going into that. Okay, all done. Get out of that. Okay. Hello, YouTube. Thank you for joining. Facebook, YouTube. Oh my gosh, so much going on. I know, I love this blue too. I decided to go blue today because we're going to be talking about water. Didn't realize that till now. It just hit me. All right, so as you guys filter in and gather, you guys know that I've been on this journey with the Akasha, and that led me to Lemurians. And I really didn't actually get to know the Lemurians too well until actually the last few days, since I was putting together all my notes, which is, by the way, 16 pages. And I took a class because I wanted to learn even more about them. And this teacher, Stephanie, she goes by Hibiscus Moon. She taught this class, and she's all about science. Like, she's not like spiritually connected, but she is all about facts, and that's what I love about crystal learning, is the facts. So we're going to be learning some of the things that I was taught in that class. So I wanted to bring all that to you guys today on top of the spiritual connection that I have. So you've got facts, what to look for, and we're going to talk to a specific Lumerian who came forth to me and started communicating about the way of life of a Lumerian, and it was just kind of really neat to kind of get to know her. But I gotta admit, when she comes around me, I immediately just want to take a nap. I've been wanting to sleep for the last 2 days because she's been around talking to me. And Yvonne gets all the nitty-gritties of everything. She's like the first audience of all my stuff. So first I want to kind of go over the little bit of history that I've learned about Lumerian. And a lot of people don't understand where the word Lumerian came from, because technically the Lumerians didn't really go by that name. That was more of a modernized version of what a few people decided to call this island, and what they decided to call the crystals and the people of that island. So Lumerian, or Lemuria, originally came from a Madagascar island who was run over and just filled with lemurs. And the history teaches that the Lumerian island kind of filtered with the lemurs being, running around this island, so it became the Lumerian island for the lemurs. So Lumerian was often referred to also as Mu, And the legendary lost continent, and it was a term introduced by Augustine, and I know I'm going to butcher his name, but Augustus, sorry, I thought it was Augustine, Augustus Le Plagone, Plagone. I butchered his name. So, and he called it the land of Mu, and this was an alternative name for the Atlantis, and the location of Atlantis being in the Pacific Ocean before its final destructive period, where the waters kind of washed everything out. Now, the mythical idea of the land of Mu first appeared in the works of Augustus, our former person that I butchered name. After his investigations of the Maya ruins, he claimed that he had translated the first copies of the Popol Vuh, and this was the sacred book of the Knej. And from the ancient Mayan inscriptions, he was able to do this through the Spanish language. And the civilization of Yucatan was older than those of Greece and Egypt, and the story being told was that there was an even older continent at that time, and this became Lemuria. So Maria, while I'm researching this knowledge of how they came about calling this island Lumerian, and where did it all start, like who came up with this first known name, and it's Phyllis, it's Mu, the land of Mu, and she called Augustus a catalyst for a galactic download in order for the Lemurian culture and civilization to be resurfaced to the human civilization that we have now. And this is the reason why, is because it's an important time on Earth, when Earth needed the energy the most, and we're going to dive deep into what that has to all do with Lemuria. So we'll get into that even more. Okay, so I found a few references to a couple of these geologists that had found a mineral called zircon on an island thought to be 2 million years ago in the Indian Ocean. And the problem with finding zircon on a 2 million year old island is that zircon is 3 billion years old. So at this point, the scientists theorized about a lost continent that they named Eurytus. And it did in fact exist and sunk into the Indian Ocean somewhat around 84 million years ago. This doesn't necessarily prove that it was Lemuria, but scientists discovering this lost continent as of recent in 2013 kind of proves that there was something going on. Okay, this evidence kind of showed this lost continent where Lemuria is said to have existed in the Indian Ocean, and then it disappeared into the ocean about 84 million years ago. So this again gives us this more proof that of where Lemuria was actually located, and Maria kind of confirmed this to me I first heard about it from Stephanie, and then I kind of wanted to dive in deeper to see, is there more to this story, and it led me to like a whole bunch of other people saying the same thing, which tells me by Maria, when you see proof over and over again, then you can't keep doubting something that's being shown to you over and over again. That's your proof there. Okay, so let's talk more about the Lumerian people. What kind of people were they? Okay. First, I really truly want to express that these people were very intuitive. They sought after highly advanced type energies. They were very skilled in telepathy and teleportation and vibration and I'm losing one here. Levitation. And we're going to dive more deep into the levitation part with what I was shown by our special guest that will be coming to us soon. Okay, so the energy that they were using was very skilled. They trained themselves very harshly in these trainings. They were very hard on their children with these trainings. What you would normally consider abusive or child abusive wasn't their way of looking at it. They really disciplined and really trained their kids to be just like them, because they didn't want that knowledge to be forgotten or lost in translation through their children. So the teleportation, it was just like, the whole Star Wars thing. They didn't really have the machines that did it. They did it themselves through training and mindfulness. And they adapted quickly to the learning of change. And I'm going to go in deeper with a message that she had given me about change and humanity changing. So now, if you were to review a history of Lemuria and text it out and write it out, you may find that that race of beings were very highly connected to water and water animals, communicating with mermaids, and we're going to get to who the mermaids really were, and mermen. And they were balanced and harmonized with these earth energies, okay? They could draw energy from any kind of earth life source, and outside the plane of our realm as well. Plants around them, they used communication, knowledge through plants, through the land, the ground, soil, grass, these kind of things, and combined their imagination to make their arms like steel. So they use these objects in an advanced way to solidify matter in a way to make their arms like weightless, so they could lift heavy things. And we're again going to go into how they were able to do that with levitation. Earth was the goddess to them. She was everything. She was the one giving their supernatural powers to them. And they helped her flourish and grow by the way they were training themselves and using her. So it's kind of like, and Maria's kind of just chiming in right now, trying to explain it in a sense of Reiki. So if you lay your hands on somebody and you're healing somebody, then the life force kind of just goes around in a circle. So as you're healing someone, that energy's healing you. So this is how this was kind of done with Lemurians, with Mother Earth, okay? They worked with the outside world as well, which is a crystalline grid of Earth, syncing their bodies with the grid of energy and harmonizing with Mother Earth and the galactic nature of the outside realm and the Earth's aura and the energy field that's outside of Earth. And they did this to kind of bring their higher selves out, to really connect to who they were and what they were capable of doing. They worked with crystals from the earth that were brought from other realms. So I want to make that clear. They worked with crystals that were from other realms, as well as God-given crystals as well. So they worked with the crystals that were already here, and then crystals that were brought from other races. They were the very first tribe to understand healing and telepathy. They quickly adapted to vibration and harnessing that power. I'm listening to Maria, sorry. I mixed up two of her words. So you have to bear with me, because I have my notes, and then I have Maria chiming in, I have our special guest chiming in, so I have to figure out what I'm saying, who am I listening to, how this is going to happen. So I'm multitasking like a juggler, so bear with me. I may mess up a word or two. Okay, when they knew their civilization was going to be removed and their physical sensing was heightened, that their life records, their life's work, their data, their mindful, soulful data was going to be like wiped out. For about close to 3,000 years, Maria kind of gave me a time of 2,700 years, which I'm going to go into more depth in my notes later, that they used that time to basically encrypt their knowledge into crystals. And then they buried all these crystals deep, deep, deep down into the ground that held their knowledge and their historical roots, to preserve the data of their culture. Okay? This type of programming was encrypted, and it was encrypted because it was not meant for anybody, just anybody, to obtain it. And just like a code breaker, it takes time to figure out what's in a Lemurian. Now, those of you who don't know what a Lemurian looks like, we're going to go in depth into what a Lemurian is and what to look for when you are buying one, how to make sure that it's a legit crystal. Okay. They again didn't want any negative beings being able to obtain these crystals and then using them for dark purposes. So not just anybody was going to be able to use them. So they are suddenly now being unearthed, and we're going to go into depth as to why that is. Okay. The human race is now being opened up to this light language, a secret code soul language. And I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, where I discuss light languages, light coding, and how we are getting into readings with me kind of opening up to what your light codes, your own DNA light codes are, because everyone has different ones. Okay. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you about the Lumerian crystals is if you see one and it jumps out at you, there's a reason why that is. And I wanted to say this at the end, but I'm going to Maria's kind of jumping me ahead. But when you see a Lumerian, it's because that there is something encoded in that crystal that's only meant for you to understand and know. So it's speaking directly to you because it's meant to be with you. So we're going to go into depth as to why that is, okay? But that's later in the live here, okay? The Great Awakening of mankind, is bringing forth this code deciphering vibration to the human race, because this race is meant to obtain the knowledge that the Lemurians originally possessed. Imagine a spark, and this is basically how Maria kind of showed me how this is working right now, but imagine a spark of encoded light, lightning, and sending out a burst of light energy to all the crystals on Earth simultaneously in order to wake up the energy to help assist the awakening of the human race. There was a deep encoding upon Earth that when a specific energy arrived or was ignited, that it set off a chain reaction to all crystals involved in this awakening, and in whatever race was here that ignited it, these crystals were to start becoming unearthed to help assist that race. Just happened to be mankind right now, okay? Many are becoming suddenly aware of these light codes. All of a sudden you start hearing all people kind of talking about light codes. What are these light codes? And sometimes they're calling them angelic codes, and they're not angelic codes. Light codes are strictly for souls only. And how they're being deciphered, and this is kind of just setting off a chain reaction to the great shift awakening of Earth. So again, many are tapping into this great knowledge, and the Lemurian culture is thriving once again. And we are able to accomplish this huge learning aspect from this race that left it behind for us. So within the science aspect of it, and I was so grateful to be able to learn this, but within the science there's a kind of understanding about frequency, and what I was taught was there's this alignment programming called syntony, okay, which is an entrainment of vibrational frequency. The frequencies are in alignment, and to have a vibrational match within that frequency, which simply means anyone wanting to decode a frequency programmed into a crystal or any vibrational frequency would need to achieve this syntony, okay, in order to detect or even decode the frequency provided in a crystal. So the only way to detect and then later decode any frequency on anything on Earth, whether it's a vibrational frequency programmed into a crystal or any kind of healing frequency that you're doing right now, it is to be achieved through this syntony, alignment of frequencies. It's an entrainment of vibrational frequency, and it has to match evenly. So Yvonne, can you hand me a piece of paper with a pen real quick? Mm-hmm. Let me kind of just, I know probably a lot of you are confused. I was kind of confused, but I followed it and it started clicking, so I understand it now. Thank God Stephanie is like an amazing teacher. She's a science professor, or science teacher, and she's amazing with explaining science, because I don't get it unless she is explaining it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of show you. Okay, so this is the frequency, and then you have vibrations like octaves within the frequency, okay? So this is our little code right here. Can you guys see that? I know it's weird, but that's the best I can show you. So the crystal would need to allow you to slowly over time decipher it. So to better understand, okay, so down here, so if we say something has a low frequency or a high frequency, because this is our frequency here, so this is low, this is high, it's all the same frequency. This is all the same frequency right here, okay? So if you say there's more energy in a wave, that just means that there's a high amplitude. So if there's more energy in a wave, there's a high amplitude within that wave. Then there is energy in a low wave within the same frequency. So this is the same frequency, you just have high and low amplitude, high and low waves of energy. But when we get into those waves, they have to sync up for it to be this perfect match of, I know it's messing up the name, but syntony, okay? So this has to be perfect in alignment, the vibration, but this is all the same frequency. There's just amplitude within the frequency. Do you guys kind of understand what I'm going with that? So it has to sync up. That's when we get the syntony. Two oscillatory rates, or two vibrational frequencies that have the same resonant and match frequency with the different octaves. So they have to match up for you to. So basically what I'm going to just kind of say is it has to be balanced for you to understand and decipher it. Okay. Stephanie teaches it way better than I do. So any code breakers that know coding, like within a computer or a type of language. So let's use the Mayans, for example. Let's say we have a code breaker, somebody that deals with language, and they go into a deep cave and they find all this, like, you know, different writings on the wall and stuff. So they have to use their code breaking techniques or their talent for code breaking to break it. But again, they're going to sit there and tell you it's not going to happen overnight. This is going to take years. This could take days. This could take months. We don't know. So again, when you decipher what your Lumerian crystal is trying to tell you, it's going to take time to figure out what it's saying. So it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay. Now, the Lumerian they lived during the Cretaceous period. This was our little friend telling me this. And were the first humanoids to reproduce here sexually. But their bodies were not hardened like ours are now. They were more malleable, and emotions were not even a part of their life. They lived harmonious, but it was more of a telepathic nature. So let me use an example. So we have the veil of amnesia on us. So we have to use emotions to kind of express what we're thinking, what we're feeling. Well, they didn't really need to express feelings. They just already knew how they were thinking and how they were expressing themselves. We can't do that. We're not telepathic in that way, where we can't, we're not robots. We can't just sit here and just assume everybody knows what we're feeling and what we're thinking. So we have those emotions. So I do believe people, when I say to them, oh, this race didn't have emotions, and they kind of just look at me like a deer in headlights, like, what? It's because they already knew what was going on telepathically. They didn't really have to overly dramatize themselves to get their point across, okay? So they didn't really, that wasn't part of their culture. So women developed the seed of memory long before women did, or long before men did. And where men acted only instinctively, women had a sense of positive versus negative. So they always seemed to know the right thing to do. This sense gave rise to the first morality known on Earth, between right and wrong. Men responded to the force of nature, and women interpreted them by using their memory and in their intuition as well. The new edition of memory put women in a place of leadership. So by them having this special talent over men, they were able to lead the men in a way. So I thought that was kind of cool that the Lumerian women were so advanced and it took the men a little bit longer. Doesn't that kind of seem to happen now? Men are just kind of taking a little bit slower than women. Okay, the journey of the Lumerian led me straight through to my training in the Akashic Records with my Akashic guides. And they taught me that every story in life is written and it's all stored like data, like a download. The Lemurians taught me how to store memories and use the crystals to do this. So I was able to kind of work with them one-on-one. And I'm starting to slowly understand that our new special guest, which I'll introduce her soon, seems to be like guiding me now. And I think that she was part of one of my guides when I first got introduced to the, and I was allowed to go into the Akashic record and have access and clearance to those records. And by the way, those readings are going amazing. People are loving them, and I'm excited to be doing a few more this weekend who are on the list. So if you're not on the list yet, just inbox after the live show and express your interest in that reading. Okay. Okay, Maria, I have a note here from Maria. There's a couple notes from Maria, so I don't want to mess up her wordings, but she said this race was able to pass on and then become behind the scenes spiritual mentors for the generations to follow. How they did this was through crystals, specifically clear quartz Lumerian crystals, due to their high vibrational energy and retaining of data being collected here on Earth. So she chimed in and kind of just wanted to express that this was solidified in her history of those timelines and those lives, okay? All right, another note from Maria. I just noticed I had another one. The holy people of Lemuria were very much in touch with the land and water. They were the ancient ancestors of the Native Americans. So if you wonder where the Native Americans came from, Lumerian is their bloodline, okay? They began to be aware that it was very important that the knowledge from Lemuria be preserved for about 2,700 years, like I mentioned before. They were preparing for this great catalyst event. And they began spreading their teachings about to all the other beings that were on Earth at this time, and they were hopefully trying to preserve their knowledge through these people. And they felt the more that they spread the knowledge, the better it was going to be retained. And they also, again, thought that the cells within the body would retain the energy and the knowledge, and then be passed through karmatically, okay? So they really honed in on trying to get that information passed on. So they also stored information into the crystals. So we're getting into that now. Those, and she mentions here, these crystals were taken deep within the earth to be stored and preserved. These ancient Lemurians also began to create detailed maps of the underground tunnels that existed between power points on the planet. They also took the time to prepare their plans. They knew that they would receive a sign telling them it was time to go underground or migrate to other areas before the flood came. So they prepared themselves for these several thousands of years to be to be sacred keepers and record keepers of Earth. They knew it was a very important time for that information to be held and be saved from the waters. So otherwise, the entire history and the sacred teachings would have just totally been wiped out as the water receded. So they didn't want their lives to be forever lost, okay? Then the flood came. All these people who were underground were safe from the waters, even though some on the surface of the earth perished, sadly. When the waters receded, the people emerged from underground. The land and they once knew was now very different. And from what I'm gathering from her, the Native American history truly began then, but they also, as it was weird, I was trying to understand what she was trying to show me, but it was almost like there was a lot of people just standing on this cliff, and the water was like they were underwater, and all of a sudden the water started receding, and as the water was receding, they started forgetting. And this to me kind of tells me that the water receding may have taken thousands and thousands of years, and as the thousands and thousands of years of the water receding, they just slowly started forgetting their heritage, if that makes sense, okay? And they weren't able to make it to land until these thousands and thousands of years passed. So that's what I kind of gathered from that image, that it wasn't just happening all at once, but as they were standing underwater and the water was receding, this tells me that they were underwater for a very long time, and as the water just slowly washed over them and got, soaked into the ground, and there was land finally, as they emerged into the sunlight, it's almost like they had forgotten everything. And maybe that was for a reason. But she did tell me that there was emergency backups, like shamans, that were able to retain all or most of the knowledge, and that was being passed down. The shamans were passing it down and around. Okay, our special guest today. Yvonne's sitting right there. I can't see her because of my rings in my face. But, and I know I'm going to probably butcher her name a couple times because it took me about 5 minutes to be like, what? Huh? How do you say that? If I'm in heaven, it's like, oh yeah. I'm in the physical, I'm like dum dum. All right, so it's Vidalra. Okay? Our special guest today is Vidalra. She's over by the box here. I got a bunch of boxes over here because we're remodeling the spa. Okay, she presented herself to me whilst preparing for this live. She has big dark brown curls in her hair that almost look like they're wet or like gelled or something, but there's obviously no gel in her hair, so they just look really wet. The clothing that she wore matched nature, so there was a lot of tans, auburns, maroons, deep greens, light blues, and like bits of white and cream, even browns. She did have this like large crystal piece that kind of just like a big piece of candy on her chest there. It was like kind of neat, and it was bright bluish green, and it hung from her neck, and it looked just like the deep ocean of green below. So the deeper you would go into the ocean, the more green it got. So it was like a mixture of like the bottom of the ocean mixed in with the blue of the water. So it was very cool. Okay, she explained to me that she was what we would modernly call a priestess of mystical energy. She was known to her people as a type of energy structurer or energy builder. It was like a competition, she said. We would use the energy, and this is her speaking, we would use the energy from the goddess earth to build momentum up and adapt the frequency to what we were to lift, say like a large trunk from the ground, but we would honor that trunk that had passed on and left us its ancient knowledge. From what I gathered from her saying this, that this trunk was already old and had passed on, so it was laying there, and they just used what was left of the life force of that trunk. They honored Earth too much to damage it, so it's almost like they waited for them to get old, and the older they were, the more knowledge was being possessed from the life source that was left over. Every morning, this is her words, she got real loud. She goes, every morning, because I was in the middle of typing and I'm like, oh, you're not done? Okay, go ahead. The water would call and sing to you. That's how she would talk. Yeah, it's very like, that is how you awake from dream world. I was trying not to laugh, but I was just like, there was like no emotion. Okay. The water beckoned for the soul to come back into being. We were connected to the mermaid realm, whom you refer to as the Atlanteans, the deep blue ones, as we called them. We shared like-minded information with one another and shared our harvest with their people as they would do with us. We never asked them how it was obtained, but thanked them for their generous offerings. We too would offer the food of our land to them in return. This would be considered your modern-day import-export exchanges from country to country. So, then she continues. We lived among a tri-realm blend. I got a little confused, so she kind of explained that to me. 3 realms blending together in one area. Yes, we thrived a long time, longer lifespans due to the intake of energy and the type of nutrition being accumulated from the body. Less dense of a body meant less food intake. Yes, we had families and children. They didn't eat every day because the body didn't function that way. It doesn't function the way it does now. Less dense means less intake. And then she started kind of describing her area, because this was the time like Yvonne was asking her questions, because I kind of gave Yvonne a heads up of who was in the room and who was talking to me, and she was asking her all these questions. So this is kind of like her answering Yvonne, like, well, what did you eat? Did you have kids? Did you have families? I remember you asking her that. Okay, so I think right around this time Yvonne had asked her, like, well, what's around you, or where, what did your environment look like? And she said, very lush green, big mountains. The large ones were among us. And I was like, oh, big mountains. And no. She like corrected me. I'm like, okay, large ones. And she said the large beings would be the ones that had to walk around carefully. So she basically said there was like these giants there. These large beings would have been considered angels in modern time. But they were just simply the giants or tall ones to them. We worked harmonious together with them in order to aid each tribe's progress and survive from the land. Their people became ill, and it was only an illness that attacked their DNA bloodline. They began to leave Earth's realm one by one. The illness seemed to originate from a certain food that was being consumed by them, an unnatural food that was never to be consumed. They started to become unsettled and discomforted, even mean at times. From what I gathered, they started getting into foods that was like, it's like, let's say for example, you suddenly started going out in the garbage and just started eating stuff. It was like not normal. Right. They started doing things that weren't normal. We came into being after the dinosaurs ruled the lands, what you guys would call dinosaurs. But there were still some that stayed behind after the Great Migration off Earth. They became more aware of their own reality and what they were capable of accomplishing. You can think of this as a monkey becoming more aware of its own intelligence and expansion of the mind. A monkey becoming more upright and aware of language like a human. And then Yvonne asked, how did you come to Earth? She said, we were born here. We are the originals. We are the original humanoids, just as the Atlanteans were the first water people. They are able to transform their physical body in a way a shapeshifter takes a look from one aspect to another. The Atlantean culture is being misunderstood for another communal society. Some may think they were a negative people who obtained information and knowledge for their own selfish purposes, but this was far from the truth. We all knew a reboot was coming to Earth's surface, and when I mean reboot, I mean a starting over pattern. One that we knew for a while was to arrive in order for certain new energies to take place for Earth's ascendment. What most don't understand is that you cannot stay the same. This was her message to you guys today. Change comes in order to teach and to grow to new levels of learning. If you played with building blocks at an age 2, could you imagine still playing with those same building blocks at age 30? No, of course you wouldn't, because that would become boring and primitive after so long. Your mind grew as well as the physical parameters of your learning, so we migrated as well. We removed ourselves from the acceding changes that were to come. Where did you go after that? Yvonne asks. The Atlanteans had prepared their people for underground cavern survival and life. We could not do the same. We fled the islands, and Atlanteans knew of this shift. We could do the same, but some of us fled the islands, and Atlanteans knew of this shift taking place before we had. Due to the energy being viewed from down under the water was acting weird, she said, in so many words. They knew intuitively that the water was going to create a doomsday effect to the area we were all dwelling in. So we fled and made our way to the outer surrounding continents. Some of us followed the Atlantean people to Europe and some parts of the Middle East, places of warmth and growth for good harvest. But most of the Lumerians dispersed themselves throughout Asia, and that's how she said it, Asia, and the islands of, I had to put a note there because I didn't want to say it wrong, and the islands of India, nearing the Pacific. We need to be near water due to our communication with its language, with our people. Our lives depend on the water's connection to our core for survival. That is why some of the modern day people can't live without water and being near water. Their soul is very aware of their life as a Lumerian and understand that the water is survival and energetically part of the soul's growth and understanding. Our people, as well as the Atlantean people, centuries later, were energetically drawn to the American islands offshore. Most of us settled here due to its high energy and being able to use its energy for vibrating large objects and levitation, but not before we made our mark on other lands like your Easter Island, which display the faces of our people, so they were honored for their distinguished accomplishments within our own culture and obtained enlightenment knowledge through their trainings like those of your own race, which you would refer to as famous for things such as music, and she went like this, Bach, or philosophers like Plato. Our statues stand tall in honor of these dignitaries, much like your landmarks of your Lincoln statue stand in honor of someone who made change or difference in your culture. We also refer to your Mount Rushmore in comparison to your statues of honor. I believe that most of your I believe that most of our popular creations mystify humans, and with good reason, for we were much advanced in these ways. Our energy vortex of healing, which you call Stonehenge, calls to all humans on Earth in some way or another, because it is to be utilized in aiding the soul to heal on a molecular level. The Atlanteans eventually spread to other lands, but their culture can be very well known in Egypt. They advanced their culture in areas of astrology and communicating with the great gods of the other realms in order to reestablish that busy line of communication and supply. This would be considered your marketplace of buying and selling from other areas. The Atlanteans sought after supply that Earth could not provide them. They used the building of the pyramids to obtain this connection to the other realms. This is like dialing a number on a telephone. You put in a calculation of sorts with numbers and alignments, and voila, and I couldn't believe she said voila. I was kind of like, oh, she knows that word. You have a connection, which is a beam of light. Each alignment frequency coded pattern had a light color to it to that specific area in space in order to call in that specific race. The Atlanteans were actually called the beloved Anunnaki. They were honored and respected by many other races. They showed their knowledge with many and vowed to bring outer life and resources to the people of Earth. They sought to advance the people here, but found that the people were very much too primitive to understand the knowledge, and it became very tainted. So the Anunnaki had a meeting, in so many words, and decided to wipe the minds of the humans. I said whip. Decided to wipe the minds of the humans in order to remove their existence from them. They felt they were not ready for such advancement and removed the memory of and left Earth's surface in search for other realms of their kind and their level of advancement. She also said that the tall ones had migrated to America as well, in a specific area of San Diego, which she called Death Valley. Now, when she explained the nature of her surroundings, I found that we were of the same nationality in a sense, but in a different frequency of body. Like, they looked very similar to us, but it was more of like a rough masculine look more than a feminine, okay? But of a different frequency and body. They lived in warm weather, but they did have colder days. As she was kind of describing these like cold and warm days, I had the sense that the sun or the earth was moving closer to one another. And the way she showed me, it seemed that Earth was a bit farther back from the sun than it is now. This weather made it good for harvesting, she said. They were all about harvesting food. Like, this was one of the biggest things that they had done. This weather made it good for harvesting from the lands. And she kind of comes off physically abrasive, but spiritually advanced. I was constantly being reminded that the American Indians share their bloodline. Like, she made sure that I have repeated that in my head. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about the Lumerian culture before I move on to the Lumerian crystal? I know it's a lot of information, and we're going to get through it. It's a lot to take in. Let me go over to YouTube. I am looking at you guys. So if I'm not looking at you guys, I'm looking at them, which is right there. Okay. All right. Okay. Yes, the live feeds are always recorded, and they always go on the wall for you guys to watch, and on YouTube. Phyllis, are any living today through bloodlines? From what I'm being shown, it's more of an incarnation. So we have Lemurians and Atlanteans that are living through incarnation, but I am also being told that there is still Atlanteans on Earth, and their world is very much hidden away. It's near Egypt, and you can't, no human is able to physically go into that area and where it is in the water. It's basically a huge city in the water. Yes, Diana, that is what I was being shown. That the Native Americans are descendants of the Lemurians. They weren't Amazon people. No. The Amazons, when I was being shown the Amazons were more warriors. They weren't harvesters. They weren't farmers. They weren't of mystical, magical, spiritual connectedness. Vikings and people of this nature were more of warriors and making sure that they provided. They were more providers than they were spiritual people. Okay, so let's move on to the Lumerians. Okay, so to activate your Lumerian crystal, we are going to jump around a little bit here. This piece is actually mine. I'm showing you my piece today so that I can demonstrate what you need to look for in a Lumerian, okay? Today we are just simply learning about Lemurians, okay? So, they have a natural shape. A natural wand shape. So they must look like a wand, okay? It will behave like a laser beam of energy healing, like an energy beam. So if you imagine a regular light bulb, so if we take a regular light bulb like this, I brought a light bulb so I could show you. Okay, but I want you to understand that about photons. Okay, so a photon is a particle representing a quantum of light or other electromagnetic radiation. Okay, a photon carries energy proportional to the radiational frequency, but has a zero resting mass. Okay, so the light bulb, the photons in our light bulb here are going to go in all directions. They're to do. Like, just think of, like, you guys see like flies or little gnats. Just imagine them being in this light bulb and they're just running around and flying around and bumping into one another. That is the photons in a light bulb, a light bulb. So it's going to fill up a room so that you can see better and you can read better while you're reading, okay? Now, the photons in a crystal like this is going to be more of a focused light beam. They're not going to be all over the place. It's going to be a stream of light beam. And this has an identical wavelength of protons streaming, okay? A matching wavelength in a way, okay? This is what we want when we are working with the Lumerian crystal. It is an amplifier which increases the coherence for it to resonate and have that symphony with us and allow us to decode or kind of grab its gemmy little secrets. So we have to do things to get it to activate, okay? So we're going to take a laser, and I have my laser here. That's a flashlight. So I have a blue laser and I have a red one. So I'm going to do the red one because it's more laser beamed. Can you guys see my laser? There's my laser. You definitely don't want it here because I would think that would be somebody's going to take you out. So we're not doing that. All right. Okay, so you want to, and it doesn't matter where you do this, from what I was being shown. So you want to activate it. You can take it from the bottom, take it from the top, and just gently. And this basically wakes it up. And you're basically telling it, listen, I want to use you right now. I want to learn from you. And we're putting a beam of light through the wand. A photon stream beam of light. And you want to do this for about 3 minutes. Oh, I am not showing you what I'm doing. Sorry about that. So you just go up and down your crystal gently, just go up and down. And you can probably go this way. And it doesn't matter where you start or end or begin. Ooh, my hand's shaking, so it's definitely coming to. It's not like the crystal isn't awake already, but this kind of, Maria kind of explains it like a bowl or a pot of water. You're bringing the water to a boil. You're bringing the energy to a high, okay? And I can actually feel the heat coming off this crystal now. Like my hand's already in like a healing mechanism, and it's ready to start healing. This will work on the strawberry Lumerian, yes. Okay, so we do this for about 3 minutes. I'm going to keep doing it while I talk to you. This connects to the crystal, and then you want to see what it has to tell you. So by doing this, I would say meditate right after, and then journal what you're being shown. Lumerian is a very intelligent stone, but can also be very playful at times because it's very connected to water animals. Water animals are very tribal, grouped together, so they count on one another. So you want to understand that you can have a playful time with your Lemurian. You don't always have to be serious. Okay? It also aids in theta brainwave activity, and this will allow you to go into a deeper sleep, a peaceful sleep, and then it gives your soul time to go into a deeper realm of learning or adventure. Maybe your soul wants to take a break and wants to go on a grand adventure. This will help your body to go in a deeper sleep, and when your body's in a deeper sleep, your soul is able to go further and down the rabbit hole, as I like to call it, in its adventures while it's away from the body. Okay, this is a great stone for anyone who is a healer because it connects with the heart chakra, and it teaches one to assist another with healing. So it definitely heats up, like you can feel it heating up. What I love most about the Lumerian is it holds great knowledge of the water. And us being a tribe together, you and I, and Yvonne, this is a time for joy and to help us feel better, and especially if we've been feeling down in the dumps, this crystal will connect you to your tribe, and your tribe is there to console you or, keep you enlightened and empowered. So that's how I kind of see this crystal. It keeps your tribe connected. Okay, now that I did that, I think I'm good. I don't know if it was 3 minutes, but okay. So the stone of the healer contains healing knowledge for the healer, and it is a light receiver, so it is a great assistant to somebody that is a healer, because it will amplify the healing that you're doing to someone else. Okay, now this is also a good time to use Lumerian on the planet and use it in a crystal grid even, and you can even actually take your crystal grid and activate your crystal grid by using your Lumerian to connect all the crystal grid pieces that you put on your crystal grid. So it's going to ignite them and get them revving up. Okay, but your Lumerian is great right now during this time in our lives for Earth. So to heal the planet, I would meditate on healing energy towards all mankind and towards healing Mother Earth and the energy and uplifting her. Think of something so beautiful, and we're going to demonstrate this right now. Yvonne's going to be like, what in the hell are you doing? This crystal is going to be for sale tonight. It's going to be an auction piece at the end because we are raising money for missing person cases that I'm taking on. Some of these families need attorneys to help us get their loved ones, things like this, because we are hitting roadblocks with police departments and coroners and all this stuff. So this piece will be an auction piece. It's a pink tourmaline. It protects all kinds of loving relationships. Maybe you're single and you want to learn from self-love before you learn from someone else's love. It will help protect you while you're on that journey. Okay, so this crystal. Okay, so let's say, for example, this is Mother Earth. Okay, so we take this beautiful crystal. Oh, this is not caramel. This is ranch. I thought this was caramel.
That's why I asked.
All right. Okay, I thought this was caramel. I was trying to do something syrupy. Okay. Okay. So anyway. Oh, this is like gonna make me vomit. But anyway, so we put our this ranch. Okay, we cover her with this old ranch. This couldn't have been a better metaphor, because this ranch is so old, guys. I wouldn't even touch it with my finger. It's so old, it's been in the fridge forever. Okay, so this is the ranch. Oh, and let's just sprinkle on some dirt. There we go. There's our dirt. There you go, Mother Earth. Just cover her with anger, strife, and let's just hate one another and be on Mother Earth and push all our neuroses onto her. There you go. Oh, look, there's some more for you in the bowl. Ew, I touched the ranch. It's gross. Oh, and I made a mess with the soil. Yvonne, don't get mad.
I won't get mad.
It's on a rug. We can shake it out.
Yeah.
Okay. I have my napkin here that I can wipe all this off. Okay, so you get what I'm saying, okay? And then we take Mother Earth. Can you hand me a water bottle? I did not set up very good for this. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna take our Lumerian and we're gonna push out energy of love to Mother Earth because she is not, I mean, look at her, guys. She is not looking good. Oh, it stinks. I want to vomit. It's so bad. It smells so bad. Okay. So, we take our Lumerian and we love Mother Earth with her. And we push that energy out. And we're able to, and this is probably not going to be enough water. When I was getting this, Yvonne's like, what are you doing? Yeah, this is not going to be
I
enough.
knew it was going to be interesting.
Oh my god, it sounds like I'm peeing right on live. Okay. Whoever this goes to, I promise I will clean it very well for you and polish it.
Elizabeth and Stan.
And our sweet, non-ranch Mother Earth. Back to normal again. Yay. Did you guys like my demonstration? Okay, back in you go. Okay. Smells like ranch in here. It's grossies. Alright. That was my demonstration. Okay. Okay, so now you kind of get a sense of how Mother Earth feels, right? There's people getting angry, they're destroying things, they're stomping, they're yelling, they're throwing up this energy, they're vomiting words, just angry words, okay? As that energy amplifies, the energy on Earth amplifies, and Mother Earth is just like, I've had enough. Like, you all need to just stop. So, working with the Lemurian, I encourage everyone to work with the Lemurian as a heart-based meditation. And, oh, I didn't mean to do that. My bad. Let me put this away. Okay. So, I encourage everyone to use Syntony, the entrainment of vibration, and the heart conditioning, the heart connection to Mother Earth, and strengthen that bond that you have with her, and use it as a strong connection between you as the healer, her as a healer, and you working together and using that energy to heal not only her and yourself, but also everyone on Earth. Okay? The more you use the Lumerian, the more conscience it's going to start trusting you and trusting you with the knowledge it has. You will also start remembering the knowledge, because it's not like something that you, had, it's not something like you never had. You've always had this knowledge, you're just remembering it. Especially when a Lumerian calls to you. Remember what I said, it's calling to you because there is information downloaded into it specifically for you and meant for you to hear from it, okay? You always knew this knowledge, you just forgot, okay? But as that veil slowly starts becoming removed, you can start feeling more familiar with the information and the energy being provided with your higher self, and allow that to call in the information and specific information meant for you, okay? Okay, here comes the good stuff. Okay, this is the fun stuff. Lemurians have markings, okay? It almost looks like cuts or scrapes And I can, if you see the, like the these are called striations. They almost look like little cuts or ladders into the crystal there. Okay. And on the sides here, you're going to see these striations. See them there? You can really see them right there. These are called striations, and they were stored with light code data within the crystal. This is how the energy, think of it like a barcode. This is the crystal's barcode. You should be able to run your hand or finger up and down and feel them. You should be able to feel them. Okay? This, Carol, like I said in the beginning on the top there, you will probably see me answer your questions before you even ask them. So wait to ask questions till the end, because I guarantee I probably have already answered it for you by the end of it, honey. So right now I'm answering your question. I'm going to show you how to identify your Lumerian, because a lot of people say they look just like clear quartz. They don't. Okay, and I'm going to show you why, because I would think this was a clear quartz, but it's not, and I'm going to show you why. Okay. All right. So you've got these striations on here, these ladder markings. And you can see it right there, real good right there. Okay. It's like a barcode. And you can take your finger up and down. So don't just look at these striations. I want you to actually feel them. Rub your finger up and down, okay, on these crystals. This is releasing the energy, the data. By you doing this, this is releasing the energy and the data being stored. So you're warming it up and it's being released. I know this is kind of gross, but this is what Maria kind of showed me. You know the glands of a dog on their butt? Mm-hmm. If you rub them too much, they're going to go. Yeah. Same thing. It's basically the same thing. All right. So it's okay. Let's properly just identify these first. So no worries. Okay. The facet, the apex is at the top. Most of you should already know this. The apex is at the top, and then you have the facets, which is these little triangle pieces up on top. Okay. Now, the facet is the part, I'm going to kind of show you the facets like this. Hopefully you can see them. The facets are what meet at the apex, and the closer they get up to the top. Now, some might not make it. It might be like here, one didn't make it all the way. Okay? So most of them will meet at the top, but some might not make it the whole way up. It should not be polished or cut. And in most clear quartz, there's 6 facets, which I don't have an example of right now. And some might have 5 because it won't meet to the top like that. Okay? But on a Lemurian, you only get 3. Okay? So the next characteristic I'm going to kind of show you, we're all going to discuss. I'm going to mention that I mentioned earlier about the facets that meet at the apex of a Lemurian, which have 3. It's mostly Lemurians that have these characteristics. It's called a Museo crystal habit. And I want to demonstrate that at the apex for you. So basically when you go like this, it should look like a triangle. Now I know you probably can't tell, but it should look like a triangle, like you're looking at a triangle, okay? I'm going to try to do that. Maybe you guys can see it if I do that, okay? I wonder if this one has it better. See? You're looking at a triangle. Looks like a triangle, okay? So there you go with that. Okay. Now, within the Museo crystal, okay, which is called a Museo, there is these little parts up here. Now, you have the Z and R parts, okay? The R parts are bigger, the Z parts are littler. So there's a Z one there, there's an R there, there's a Z there, there's an R there, okay? And the R and Z, I'm not going to go into major depth because I'm not a geologist, or I'm not a crystallologist. Going to look into doing that. or a gemologist. Sorry, I'm not a gemologist either. But these are called the R and Z areas. Now, that's basically called the rhombohedral in the shape. That's the triangle shape, rhombohedral. And under them, you'll see these jagged edges. Okay? Instead of a smooth prism face, there's these R faces that are usually larger than the Z faces, and they are jaggedy. Okay? So, let's kind of review what to look for. You've got the ragged or ladder striations. Okay, that's what you look for. The triangle angled prisms on top. And it should be 6, and it should look like an obelisk wand shape. Or I'm sorry, it should look like a triangle, not 6, because the 6 at the bottom, if you look at the 6, at the bottom there's 6. The triangle's at the top. Exterior, but you should see a frosting outside. It most likely will be frosted. You might have some clear parts, like right there, it's real clear. And then it gets real frosty again. Okay. Okay. So you don't want just some of these identifications, you want all of them. That's the only way it's going to be a Lumerian. The striations are on this one, but it's not as deep as the other one, but there is striations on this one. It has the frosted look. You've got the triangle 3 on top, and the striations are there. Okay? That's how you know it's a Lumerian and not a clear quartz. Okay? There's more of them there. See the ladder? Okay. All right. Okay, our little Lemurians help us with many, many things. I'm going to kind of go over the metaphysical parts of all this. They help us to connect to the soft, loving energies of the celestial realms, the higher realms. The ladder-like striations on the stone act like a stairway to heaven, in a sense. So it's taking you to a higher self, a higher realm, and reaches towards a higher frequency for you. Okay, these crystals are a powerful meditation tool to use when you're trying to feel at home. Because let's say, for example, you're feeling very lonely, maybe you're feeling very isolated, and you just want to be connected to home. This crystal kind of makes you feel like you're at home with a tribe, and that goes back to me explaining how the Lumerian connects you to your tribe. In a spiritual sense, wands focus the healing elements of the universal life force on areas of the body that are weak or maybe suffering from being out of balance. The wands are also specifically used in spiritual healing when the entire organism is out of balance with itself. They use a sense of oneness to a person suffering from feelings of disjointment or disjointedness or detachment. Maybe you're feeling detached. It helps you to feel whole. When life seems to be swirling around someone and they seem to be lost in the whirlwind, you can use your Lumerian crystal for this healing process. In divination, wands are used in specific efforts where great precision is needed, because it has that laser beam energy and you're pointing right at the part that you need to be healing. And remember, the life force is you, so as you're healing with the crystal and it has its own life force, it's just this roundabout light beam coming from Mother Earth, coming from other realms, coming into you through your feet as you root into that energy, and then through your hand as it's healing, through your crystal that already has a life force of its own and also has the entrainment vibration of the photon beam light. Okay. Now, you can actually use your Lumerian as a divination to reach a goal of determination between yes and no. Now I'm going to kind of show you how to do this. Now, you could probably get sand at like your local Lowe's or Home Depot because it's summer and kids love sand. So, but you want to bury the crystal in a shallow bowl filled with white sand. Place the bowl in contact with earth. So you want to put it on the ground, like with soil, you know, the soil outside, maybe in the grass. Over the course of several hours, randomly rotate the bowl without thought. Just rotate it anyway without thought. With a compass, mark the location of north and south. Carefully brush away the top layer of the sand until the Lumerian is visible. If it points towards north, the crystal is indicating that the relationship is aligned with the natural earth and indicates a positive response to the question you've asked. If it points to the south, the response is negative. If the wand points primarily east or west, there is no answer to you at this point in time because there's not enough that has gone into that path to even give you a solidified answer, okay? Okay. They truly have a powerful energy. They're excellent in aiding spiritual development work, like those of you who may be working on your shadow. Lemurians are great at helping you face your inner demons and help you to be more like yourself. I mean, who more to take after than the Lumerians, because they were definitely being themselves, and they definitely tapped into all their abilities and didn't really care what other societies at the time maybe thought of them, but most of the societies here were already like them, advanced, so it was all harmonized in that sense. But nowadays you have a lot of people that judge you, and this crystal is going to kind of teach you how to ignore that, because the only person learning from your path is you, and you have nothing to prove to anybody else except yourself, because in the end you're the one that's going to have to repeat the life, not them. So you might as well just be yourself while you're doing it. Okay, now Maria chimed in and said, "We are entering a timeline now of profound alignment with the fifth dimensional Christ consciousness diamond light grid blueprint that is currently interfacing with this world and its current dimensional reality. Please understand and know that the more individuals who individually experience that which is known as the inner event or the inner shift, the faster the collective consciousness aligns with the huge collective wave within the cosmos and the cosmo light particles, or that which is known as the outward event through the galactic realm. Please know that the event is an inner and outer phenomenon, and it is this which marks it a grand event. Mother Earth, Gaia, stands now with the attention of the entire galaxy and universe. She is now blended with them all and beyond, who have come forward to bear witness to this spectacular metamorphosis that she is going through herself." And she quoted this, "As above, so below, as within, so without." So much ancient knowledge and memory are coming back into this timeline. As many of you are awakening and remembering, particularly those of you who are vibrationally drawn to these crystals, you in fact have incarnations at the time of the Lemurian lives. And so therefore you are fully aligned with the remembrance of this soul call mission. Many have begun and have began to receive transmissions from the ancient Lemurians and their Lumerian crystal data wands. Lemurian crystals contain and transmit messages of equality and unconditional love from ancient advanced civilizations. Their energy grid links from the earth to the stars and other dimensions. They are excellent for chakra clearing and balancing and cleaning your aura, as well as working with your soul through dream. If you go to sleep holding one, you will ascend to the other realms and gain great knowledge. A quartz is something that you program. A Lumerian is something you activate. So there's a big difference. She wanted to stress that. There's a huge difference between the two. As you meditate, rub your finger along the barcodes on the side of the Lumerian to activate and download Lumerian knowledge and connect to the Lumerian energy grid. I hope you enjoyed this teaching, and I hope you have fun while doing this. Please keep a journal of your Lumerian journey so you can now place that history back into the human history timeline for all to review. And that's it, guys. That's it. Here's all your information. Okay. So, does anybody have any questions for me about Lemurians or the Lumerian crystal? I'm going to check on YouTube. I love my Lumerian too, Pam. It's very nice. I love my little short buddy, but I actually got this one for Yvonne because I felt she was drawn to it. But then, as I'm talking to Maria, she said to me, as you're being chosen by a Lumerian, you'll be drawn to it. So it was calling to me. So the information in it's for me, even though I bought it for Yvonne. So she said, you can't buy Lumerians for other people because it will only be drawn to you. So you have to be very careful when buying for someone else because the information is jumping at you specifically. So I am sharing it with Yvonne. I'm gonna have her pick her own because I know that once she sees one, it's gonna have a lot of stuff to say to her. Oh, and then Maria wanted me to actually physically talk to my Lemurian. I have yet to do that because I had just gotten these in. No, you have to use a laser light because the laser has photon particles in it that don't float around. They have one mission, and it's to go straight forward. They come in all sizes. You can get little Lumerians, you can get really big ones, you can get little fat ones like I have. You're welcome, Tara. I have been shown that Lemurians do have a smoky quartz color to them, where they have that brown texture to them. There's the strawberry Lemurians. I haven't personally experienced these crystals. I would love to, and eventually down in my mission, if I come across one, I will definitely do a live feed on one. But as of now, I have not experienced one, but I was shown through this teaching that you can get the darker, almost looks like there's like citrine ones and then brown smoky quartz ones. Yes. As long as they have the striations and it comes to a 3 triangle, okay? And you're looking for the definitive parts of that crystal, it's very well Lemurian, but it has a different color to it. It doesn't have to be clear like this one. Colleen, we will be getting them in, but I would only go with trusted crystal metaphysical shops. Don't get taken. That's why I mainly did this. You know, I always do the facts. I love studying scientific nature, and I don't know the science behind it. I learn all this from other humans that have spent years being science teachers and geologists. I am a communicator, so I communicate with work. I have to learn that. So, okay. So, I would go with somebody that you've maybe purchased from before, or you can wait till we get them in. I don't have them on the website yet because we don't have them in yet, because I'm being very picky as to where I'm getting them. And I tested this one out from a distributor that I use all the time, and I'm loving it. So I'm going to be doing a little more research with my distributor on getting more in, okay? And thank you. Yeah, I'm very picky when it comes to the crystals, guys. We do not just get them in. I do this where this crystal came from. I got my amethyst one from, and the energy that they possess is very healthy, okay? And I trust, and this is from another distributor that I got this one from. And the energy again is amazing. That's why when we get people inboxing us or posting about when they open their bag and the energy's so positive, it's because the crystals, we specifically hand pick them. And if we deal with a distributor for a very long, I mean talking years, I've been dealing with these distributors for years, I trust what comes from them. So if I can't physically go there and I see something jump out at me that they have shown me, I trust that it's coming from a good environment, okay? Okay guys, yeah, we will definitely get some of those in. I do want to show you 2 new crystals that we did get in, and I'm loving these crystals. They are on the website, but they are going to be part of our Soul Shift shopping spree, and that will be on the 2nd of July at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. I gotta check. If you follow on Instagram, all that stuff is shown. All the dates and events are always on Instagram, and we do post on Facebook. But if you follow on Instagram, The Divine Medium, Divine, you'll see all this stuff. So this is a selenite Merkaba, and if you go on the website, you can see and learn all about it. I actually have a video that you can kind of look at it. It is 3 inches large. I think it's 3 inches all around. Yep, a little over 3 inches big. It is a very cleansing crystal. You stick this around your other crystals, it will cleanse them. You won't have to ever do anything with them. This will take care of it all. Then we have a huge mystical protector. I think this is probably these are my 2 favorite crystals in the shop right now. I'm like freaking out. I got my own. I'm actually showing you mine. This is my selenite star. And then we have a black obsidian. Isn't that neat? Yum, yum, yum. I love this. Oh, I love them. They're just, when you hold this one, I can't explain it. Best way I can describe it is like it makes you feel safe. Like you got a warm, heavy, heavy blanket on you and you're okay and you're feeling woo. Like on a rainy day, you're just feeling comfortable. Like it just fits in your hand so perfect. Like you just cup it, and I love it. So that's the black obsidian. And do you want to show the sheen obsidian hearts? Do we have those? You had it in your hand at one point. Oh, and the amethyst points. We could show those. We have a lot of new crystals that we're going to be selling on July 2nd. But the Merkaba and the black obsidian are on the website right now under new arrivals. crystalcovespa.com, new arrivals. Okay, this is the new sheen obsidian hearts. They're hearts. I love sheen obsidian. And then the new amethyst ones for healing. And the reason I got this is I've been getting headaches because you guys have to understand we are in a 9-planet retrograde that we are just actually starting to come out of, and I think we're down to 4 planets now. Using a amethyst wand when you have a headache, Yvonne does it to me when I get the really bad headache. She'll just use a wand, and you actually, if you close your eyes, you can actually figure out where, because I'm already starting to get a headache because of the light blaring in my eyes. I can already start to feel it. It's coming in my eyes. But if I go like this, I can probably pinpoint what's triggering, like what part on my head. Yeah, it's right there. And it's pushing pain over to here and behind my eye. Because when I do this, I can feel something going on in here, almost like when I go like this, I can feel it. So if you close your eyes, you can literally just feel things going on in your head, and wherever you go and something else hurts or you feel something else going on, that's the part that's triggering the pain, okay? So this is why I got these things. And also you can literally put it on the skin. Let's say, for example, you've been having a lot of pain in your joints or your muscles. You can actually massage it. It's actually a massage wand that you can really kind of push onto the skin and kind of rub it out, okay? Because it's a healing stone. So it's doing two things. It's massaging you and using its own energy to heal you, okay? So that is it for tonight, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this class. The main reason I did this class was because I will be teaching about crystals once a month. That is a new course coming to the website. It's the Crystal Cove course. And once a month, you guys will be able to purchase and come in and learn all about a crystal that we pick that month. And I will learn all the scientific stuff behind it and get you all the juicy details and bring it to you on my own when I do all the research and I pack it full. And then we will always have a special guest coming to us to send us a message like we did today. We had Maria, and then we had our special guest who I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm gonna butcher her name. I have to say it right because I feel like she's one of those that would be like, do you know, the face. I will get the face if I don't get this right. I know, the face. I don't want to see the face. Okay, Videlra. It's gonna take me around a while to get her name like in my brain because Neferi, it took me a long time to get her name because I kept screwing it up. I'm not good with names, guys. You try to tell me your name, I'm gonna forget it. It's gonna take me a while to like sink in. Videlra. So I thank Videlra for coming to us today and giving us her message and letting us just come into her culture and learn a little bit about it. I'm sure that there's probably, we could sit here for weeks and learn all about her stories and her personal triumphs and challenges within her own life as a Lumerian mystical builder. And it's Videlra. It's Vadialra. Videlra. So I welcome her and I thank her, and I'm sure this isn't going to be the last time we hear from her. And most of this information is going to go into my book because I'm bringing you guys the galactic realms in the book. So you guys will get to learn all about different realms, what they were like, and we'll probably have a special guest within the book, within each realm, who will describe in detail their first-hand experience of their living within that realm or that lifetime. So I'm excited to kind of get back to writing the book. I had to take a break because we're opening the shop. We're fixing up the spa. If you guys saw the spa right now, you'd be like, how do you guys even move in here? There's packages, there's bags, it's everywhere. So when we're going to be actually doing a little bit tonight before we go home. So I'm excited to kind of get started in decorating. Yvonne's probably sitting there going, I just want to go home. No, she said no. Okay, so we're good.
We're good.
Yay, I was hoping. Go us.
Go us.
So I want to thank you guys all for joining in. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will come back and I'll take a look at what you guys were writing. My nose gets very itchy and I do kind of burp a lot when I'm in spirit with Maria. I don't do it necessarily when I'm doing a reading, but especially when I'm doing live feeds, my nose will itch. I will get very burpy when I'm talking to Maria or a different realm on a live. Yeah, it's very different communication. It's not like talking to a loved one. I have to change frequency. I think a lot of people don't understand how the readings are done, and I can use this time to kind of explain how that works. So my last client that was here, I tried to explain, listen, I'm across, I'm on the other side. Time doesn't work the same. So I'm thinking that the reading went for 10 minutes and I come out and it's like 3 hours and I'm starving and I'm tired and I'm drained. So we have been putting time limits on the readings because of how drained I'm getting. being in them for so long, because there's only a certain amount of time you should be in there talking to loved ones, and then you got everything you need. Let's shut it down. So we've been kind of, watching how long I'm in there, because I don't notice how long I'm in there because I'm not technically in the room. I can see what's around me, like maybe if I have a water bottle or if I have my notebook, I can see directly in front of me. But past that, all I see is the client, and then it's like the reading room merges with heaven. So I'm seeing all of heaven, and it's like they place the person, the client, in heaven with me, and I just see what's directly in front of me, and then them, and maybe Yvonne, if she is next to me, I can see her. So they allow me to see both worlds as I'm communicating. So this is how this is done with me, at least. Nobody reads the same way. At least they shouldn't, because everybody's different. So the time is very much different. So this is how I try to explain it to her, that I'm not technically in the room with you guys. Spiritually, I'm kind of using the body as a channeling mechanism, but I'm technically on the other side communicating with whomever came forward to talk to you. So, all right, guys. Thank you for allowing me to teach you a little bit about Lemuria and allowing our special guest to give you guys a message. And if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments. If you inbox, I'm sure one of the team members will get back to you at some point in time. Give them a little time, because we do get a lot of messages after a live feed or a shopping spree. We get thousands of messages, and they have to work through all of them. So just give them a little time. We're not ignoring you. And that's it. Thank you for allowing me to teach you. You want to say bye, Yvonne?
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, I have to turn off YouTube. Oh, where'd YouTube go? Okay, guys. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys being here. I wasn't ignoring you. Let me see if I missed any questions from you guys real quick. Do they grow in clusters? Sherry, they do. And they just slip out of the cluster very easily. You shouldn't have to be digging too hard. They should just slip out like a flower slipping out of the vine, like that. Okay, it shouldn't have to be yanked or pulled or anything. Maybe some of them do, but normally they should just slide out, and they'll just normally look like this. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any of your questions either, guys. Okay, that's it. There was no questions. All right, thank you so much for joining on YouTube. I appreciate you guys so much. If you guys, again, have any questions, head on over to Facebook and leave me a message in the inbox. The team will get back to you, or you can go on the Facebook and leave a message there. And you can email, you can go on the website, contact us through the divinemedium.com if you guys need any questions that way, or just have a concern, or just want to say you like the show. And we'll be here if you guys need us. And you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining.